Everyone, we have finally reached the very last section of our nervous system because it's huge. In the last section, we talked about the autonomic nervous system, and we have mentioned the two subdivisions, parasympathetic and sympathetic. But now we're going to go a little bit into detail about its functioning, or what does it do within the body and the difference between them. So autonomic functioning, body organs served by the autonomic nervous system receives fibers from both divisions. So what I mean by both divisions is both divisions are the sympathetic and parasympathetic. There are a few exceptions. The blood vessels, any structures of the skin, there are a few glands in the adrenal medulla actually only receives sympathetic fibers. So the parasympathetic has nothing to do with blood vessels. Okay. Now, both of these systems serve the same organ, and when they serve the same organ, they cause antagonistic effects. And antagonistic means opposite. And the reason they have opposite effects is because of the different neurotransmitters that they use. So parasympathetic, you're postganglionic. So post means the second one. So post means the second one. I said that already. These part of your axon are sometimes called the cholinergic fibers, and they release the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Whereas if we're talking about the sympathetic postganglionic, these are called adrenergic fibers because they release the different hormone norepinephrine. Now notice here we've been talking about postganglionic, preganglionic, which again it comes first. Both of these release acetylcholine. So again, let's talk about them. Both systems have a pre and a postganglionic fiber. Both of the pre release acetylcholine. The post, the para, releases acetylcholine, and the sympathetic releases norepinephrine. So let's go a little bit more detail about these two subdivisions and their functioning within the autonomic nervous system. The first one we're going to talk about is the sympathetic. We learned in the last section that this is called the thoracolumbar region because of where they originate, but the sympathetic nervous system can also be known as the fight or flight division because of its function or its response. The sympathetic nervous system responds to any unusual stimuli that is going to affect our homeostasis. So this occurs when we're emotionally or physically stressed or threatened in any way. What happens is it takes over to increase activities that will help you in situations where you are emotionally or physically stressed and threatened. Examples are a pounding heart, rapid deep breathing. You can have cold, sweaty skin, and dilated pupils. One way to remember what the fight or flight division does is think about it as the E division, which stands for exercise, excitement, emergency, and embarrassment. Think about what happens to your body when you're in these situations. What happens to your body when you exercise or you get excited? Whenever there's an emergency, your heart pounds, or even when you're embarrassed. The effects of the sympathetic nervous system continue for several minutes until the hormones that are released are destroyed by the liver. So while nerve impulses may be brief, the hormones or the neurotransmitters that they use, those effects may linger, which is why whenever you're nervous or there's a scary situation, you have to spend some time to calm down. Again, the reason the sympathetic nervous system is so important is because it enables your body to cope with situations that threaten that homeostasis, that threaten that internal balance that you have. Okay. The second type is parasympathetic. These is your housekeeping activities. We like to use the word resting and digesting system because that's what's happening when your parasympathetic nervous system is functioning. You like to rest. It helps you conserve energy. And during this time, you maintain daily necessary body activities that you need to do, such as getting energy by digesting food. Typically, your blood pressure decreases because you're relaxed. You have lower heart and respiratory rate because you don't have to run. You're resting. You don't need to breathe as heavy. Your digestion, though, does increase because now instead of using your energy to run away from something, you can use your energy to break down food and gain more energy to use. Your skin is typically warm because the blood is flowing to the outer extremities, to the surface, and therefore you can use your energy that way. Whereas if you were in your sympathetic nervous system, when you're running, they try to divert your blood from your skin to things that need it, like your muscles. So your skin usually appears cold if you've ever felt your stomach after a good run. There's no need to divert blood in any way. So parasympathetic, you can remember it as the D division: digestion, defecation, which is eliminating your feces or your poop, and diuresis, which is just eliminating your urine or your pee. So during this, you're conserving energy, you're digesting food, you're eliminating any kind of waste that you need to out of your body. Here are the next couple slides are a couple pictures that are taken out of your textbook that help describe what happens in each of the different body systems. So your digestive system, if you have parasympathetic results, this is where peristalsis is occurring because you're digesting. You're going to start secreting a lot of things that help with digestion. Whereas during the fight or flight response, during sympathetic, here you are decreasing digestive activities because you need to use your energy elsewhere to help run. And you're going to decrease the amount of digestive gland juices that are released because you don't want to start digesting food. The liver, the parasympathetic has no effect, whereas the sympathetic, this is going to cause glucose to be released in blood because glucose carries energy. So when you're in that fight or flight response, we want to release glucose to get energy, to get our bodies moving, to run, to fight, to flight. The lungs, when you're resting, the bronchioles or the passageways to your lungs constrict because you don't need as much oxygen. Whereas if you're in your fight or flight response, you want to dilate those bronchioles. You want to get as much oxygen to your lungs to help you run as much as you can. For urinary bladder, when you're resting, of course, you allow your sphincters to relax. It allows you to get rid of waste. Whereas you're trying to run for your life, you don't want to run for your life as you're peeing your pants. Okay. Even down here with heart rate, if you're resting, it's decreasing. If you're emotional, it's increased. And then here's the other side of it. If you want to look a little bit more detail, you can. For parasympathetic, for your eyes, when you're resting, you constrict pupils. You don't need to see as well when you're resting. Usually people close their eyes and take a nap. When it's dark out, you don't have to worry about, oh, I need to see everything. Whereas sympathetic, if you are under that fight or flight response or you're scared, your pupils are going to dilate. They're going to try to let more light in so you can see better in the dark. So here are other different effects that you can look at. Notice that the parasympathetic, there's no effects on things like sweat glands because you don't normally have to sweat and you don't want to cause sweat or get rid of heat whenever you're resting. Okay. So that's the end of today's lesson. It's very short, it's very sweet. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you guys have a good day.